Good morning and welcome to SBConnect, where we connect to and educate for the world of work. Today we have Mayor Pro Tem Leslie Irving from the city of Victorville with us today to discuss with us about being a champion for public service. Let me tell you a little bit about Mayor Pro Tem Irving. She was elected to the Victorville City Council in November 2020 for a 4-year term. With her election win, she became the first Black woman elected to the Victorville City Council and the city's first female mayor pro tem following appointment to this position by her fellow council members. She has 30 years of experience in teaching and social services. Currently, she teaches middle school and special education for the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools at the Apple Valley County Education Center. Mayor Pro Tem Irving currently represents the City Council on the following board. She's on the City Audit Committee, the alternate to the San Bernardino County Transit Authority, SBCTA Board of Directors, and the alternate to the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority, SBCTA Mountain Desert Policy Committee. Again, let's welcome Mayor Pro Tem Irving to this SBConnect session. Mayor Irving, welcome to SBConnect.
Thank you, Dr. Richards. I'd like to say I am so very honored to be here with you all. This is a great opportunity where I get to talk to students and to the community at large about public service, what I do day to day as a council member, and what I do in my capacity as Mayor Pro Tem. But before I begin to speak about my experience as a public servant, I'd like to share a little information about myself, give you some background knowledge about myself, talk a little bit about my education, and I'd like to share with you what influenced my decision to participate at this level of government as a public servant within the community. So I'll start by sharing a little bit about my background. I am originally from the city of Compton, California. I moved to the high desert in 2016 because I wanted to pursue the American dream. I wanted to purchase a home. And at the time, I don't know if you guys are aware, but you know, housing, the whole state, we're having a housing shortage, and housing is really super expensive. So I had come to the high desert before on visits, and I fell in love with the high desert, the beautiful sunrises and sunsets in the mountains. And so I decided to pursue a purchase for a home here in the high desert. But back to my background, I am the oldest daughter of a family of two. I grew up with both my parents in the city of Compton. I know that Compton is kind of, I don't know if you want to say, it's a very well-known city, but I think that especially after the Super Bowl, the music put us kind of on the map, but it really was a suburb of Los Angeles, a bedroom community, if you will. And while the city is kind of popular because of rap music, it also was a place where, if you will, like Black leadership emerged. They call it the Citadel of Black Power. And I grew up in a community where I saw a female Black mayor, I saw a Black mayor, I saw Black administrators. And so in some ways, I got a very positive outlook about the things that we could do as African-American people. I am the product, probably the first generation after the Civil Rights Act. And so I saw people partaking in the new opportunities that were afforded to them. I went to school in Compton. My mother was a teacher, but in middle school, my parents put me, I'm a Christian lady. So my parents put me in Christian school. I went to Harbor City Christian for middle school. And for high school, I went to Valley Christian, which is a small school, Calvinist based in Cerritos, California. From there, I graduated. And I initially, my college experience is kind of interesting. Initially, I was accepted to Pomona College in Claremont. I left there and I went to USC. And my mother rather, is a graduate of USC, and so is my aunt. And so I attended USC, but my experience there was kind of short-lived. I left as a junior, and I got married and had a kid. So that's why I am an advocate for education, because education can turn things around for you. So I went on to raise my child, but I returned to school. Fortunately, but not, well, I don't want to say it's unfortunate. Fortunately, I had the opportunity to pay for my own education. So I put myself through school, going to school at night and in the evenings on the weekends while working for DPSS, Los Angeles County, as an eligibility worker and supervisor. And so I graduated with a degree in American Studies. And I left the county because I always had a passion to be a teacher. I left the county DPSS, which is Department of Public Social Services. And my first assignment in Linwood, California, was a third grade teacher. And that was an awesome experience. And so I developed a passion for teaching third through fifth grade. Those were my grades. I went on, later to become a special education teacher. So the question is, I'm an educator. How did I get into public service? Well, let's see. It all started probably right after the Rodney King riots. I was working for Los Angeles County, and I was active in the local union, and they called for people to come and work on a campaign for two ladies, dynamic women, were running for board of supervisors. It was Diane Watson and Yvonne Burke. They were running for supervisor. I was working on the Watson campaign because she had been endorsed by my union. But that was an eye-opening experience. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And suddenly I was immersed into politics. I ran to be a delegate for my assembly district. I participated in the California Democratic Party convention. And I was a young lady, and I wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. I had a kid, and at that time I was a single mom, and I wanted to participate in something larger than myself. So I immersed myself into party politics and then later local politics. But the beginning is I saw people in my community doing what I aspired to do. I was actively involved with my parents in the union, the teachers union, CTA, the National Association of Letter Carriers. I sat at the helm of my parents, who are actively involved in bringing healthcare to the Watts, Willowbrook, Compton area. So that was kind of what influenced me to pursue my role in public service. I'd always been taught that if you want to make your community better, you need to be a part of the process. If you're not part of the solution, then you're a problem. So that is what propelled me into public office. Later on in 1997, I ran for school board. I wasn't victorious, but in 1998, while Compton Unified School District was in receivership, a young lady by the name of State Senator Teresa Hughes. She's no longer with us, but she was my mentor. She influenced me and ushered me into public office as a school board member. I was appointed, and the rest is history. So in terms of being the Mayor Pro Tem of Victorville, I ran initially in 2018. I was not victorious, but I elected to run again in 2020 during the pandemic. And that is when I was elected in November. So I like to talk about the office that I hold and what a typical day is like for me, some of the duties and special committees, the impact of my role as Mayor Pro Tem and City Council person on the state and the entire Inland Empire and the city. So I've already stated it, but in November of 2020, I was elected to Victorville City Council for a 4-year term. And my fellow city council members had appointed me upon election when I took the oath. They appointed me to the position of Mayor Pro Tem. And I've been appointed twice, and I'm very honored, and I am humbled that my colleagues have entrusted me with this position. So along with my fellow council members, we're responsible for establishing the city budget, enacting policy, and guiding the strategic vision of our city. The city of Victorville is governed by a city manager council form of government, where the city manager is appointed by the city council to run the day-to-day operations of the city, while the city council sets policy, oversees the budget, and guides the vision of the city. The city council meets twice a month to conduct business. And during these meetings, we consider spending requests, matters on policy and land use requests. We approve contracts with outside agencies to repair our roads, build bridges, and create plans to build city facilities. So working together in this way, that the council serves as the policy setting arm of city government, providing guidance and direction by majority vote that is carried out by the city manager and his staff. And as a city council member, I have some very important responsibilities. First and foremost, it's my duty to act in the best interest of all the citizens of Victorville. So my decisions must be for the greater good rather than for my own personal self-interest. Also, I must act as part of a governing body, not as an individual, which means that we collectively make decisions by our vote on the city council during these council meetings. No one city council member has the vote or has more influence than another. The final decision is by majority vote of the city council. Our decisions must be made in public, absolute transparency with the input from the community that we serve. So our decisions are made at the city council meetings, which are open to the public, and they provide an opportunity for public comment, which I think is very important, especially when you think about we have democracy where we advocate. It's an American ideal that government is for the people, of the people, and by the people. So in addition to that, our city council members represent our city on additional boards and commissions that affect our city. And a good example would be the Victor Valley Transportation Authority, which provides our local bus service. The city of Victorville pays into a joint authority with other municipalities to offer the bus service for the benefit of our Victorville community and throughout the high desert. And occasionally, you probably have seen one of our buses as we travel, transporting people through and, through communities to and from. We have a seat on the VVTA board where we help make decisions about the organization and the services it offers to the residents of Victorville. Another good example is at the county level. We have representation on the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority, which disperses funds to help other local road projects. And as Mayor Pro Tem, I have a few extra duties to fill in for our mayor by presiding over city council meetings in her absence and representing our city council at ceremonial events. My duties as a council member are in addition to my full-time job as a special education teacher. I teach middle school. So obviously my days are super busy, but I'm super, super passionate about serving my community. With regard to my impact on local, regional, and statewide initiatives and the work that I do, this is what I like to do is invite you guys to a city council meeting, and you can get in touch with me if you are coming. I'd like to acknowledge your presence at L. Irving. That's L. Irving at victorvilleca.gov. I would love for you guys to come out to one of our meetings. We meet the first and third Tuesday of each month at 6 o'clock, and our meetings are conducted in council chambers inside Victorville City Hall. I would be elated if you guys would come out and join me at a council meeting where I get to acknowledge your presence, but so that you can see what we do in action. Also, attending or viewing one of our meetings is a great way to learn more about municipal government and the work that we're doing to care for our city and the important decisions we're making that impact Victorville right now. I also would like to invite you and your family to come to one of our community events and activities. This last summer, we had concerts in the park, a series of concerts. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was great. And what I really enjoyed most is it was kind of like the first time I was able to get out since the pandemic. And I was able to meet my neighbors and see, people and just listen to their concerns if they had any, but we had a great time. We have a very robust parks and recreation program, and we plan to resume our community events, full throttle in the coming spring months. I especially enjoy our concerts. Those are the ones that I recommend that you come to, the concerts in the park, and I would love to see you there. So I just went off on a segue. Let me just tell you how our work as council ladies, and interestingly, while I may have made history, the council itself is an all-female council. So that in itself is historical. So the city of Victorville has a very important job to do because we're kind of like the leaders in the region. As a municipality, we provide essential services to more than 134,000 citizens. Our community depends on the city to provide clean drinking water, fire and police services, animal care and control, trash and recycling services. And we also build and repair roads. We clean our city the right-of-ways and provide parks and recreation activities, as I mentioned before. And we work really hard to attract and support businesses to operate in Victorville and contribute to our local economy. Let's see, we just had a few new grand openings. The one that I like most is the Chick-Fil-A. We have so many. I'm trying to think of the other one. You see, Chick-fil-A sticks out for me. So I'm sorry, I'm at a loss right now. But the city of Victorville also manages local land use, and it plans for future development and growth. And we also operate the Southern California Logistics Airport, which is the old George Air Force Base. And that is, for me, that is the jewel of Victorville. I see that airport as key to the vitality and economic development for our city in the future. Currently, we have over 450 employees, and the city's mission is to enhance the lives of those who work and live in the city of Victorville. And we try very hard to provide a high quality in terms of public services so that everybody in the community can thrive. We also have some very impressive initiatives and works. I'd like to highlight two projects that represent the work that we do for the community. First of all, the Green Tree Extension Project. I understand that this is a long time in the making, but it's finally becoming reality. So right now we're working on one of the largest infrastructure projects we've undertaken as a city. We're constructing a new bridge and road that will connect the communities of Victorville and Apple Valley. And it really is quite impressive. The Green Tree Extension will extend from Green Tree Boulevard, which is about 1.5 miles from Hesperia Road, to Ridgecrest and Yates Road. One of the most complex parts of this project is the construction of a 600-foot long bridge that will travel over BNSF Railroad. We estimate that 1 million pounds of rebar and 24 million pounds of concrete will be used in this new bridge. That's a lot of weight. And we expect to use nearly 55 million pounds of asphalt and 2 billion pounds of dirt for the bridge and the roadway combined. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. This project is going to cost us nearly $47 million, and the city of Victorville will contribute $15 million. The remaining cost will be paid by the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority, the town of Apple Valley, and the county of San Bernardino. And the Green Tree Extension project was first envisioned, as I said, it's a long time in the making. It's first envisioned in 1970. The project was added to the Victorville General Plan in 1998 and became a viable project in 2007. So I'm elated and very excited to have been a part of the groundbreaking for the project, which occurred in June 2021. And we expect it will be, it'll take nearly 2 years to complete. And the reason I'm sharing this with you, I share this with you because I want you to get a good understanding, a flavor for the complexity of the project. To bring a project like this to reality takes vision, a great deal of collaboration from a variety of agencies like the county, the town of Apple Valley, and the city of Victorville. And it requires city engineers, planners, the construction company to do the work, and of course, a great deal of funding. And as a council person, we set policy and we set the vision, and we provide the guidance that to continue the work so that we can make this become a reality to serve the greater good of the community. So I share that with you so you understand that being a council person, it takes a lot of work. It requires that you have a servant leader type of mindset, because you're going to really do the work of the people in the best interest of the people for the people. The other project that I'd like to share with you, the one I'm very proud of, I guess because I have a social service background, is our wellness center. The wellness center is, I believe, is the first of its kind here in San Bernardino County. So our wellness center campus, we're working to reduce homelessness in Victorville, and the entire council is committed. Recently, the city secured a $28 million grant from the state of California to construct the wellness center. And the wellness center will combine a low barrier emergency shelter, recuperative care facility, a medical clinic, interim housing, with wraparound support services to help the community's homeless population. The shelter will also offer 110 separate units with a minimum capacity of 170 beds. A variety of support services like substance abuse counseling, job training and placement, housing navigation, and so forth will help to end the cycle of homelessness, or at least that is our hope and desire. And I foresee that as being, we're gonna reduce homelessness and make some inroads, positive inroads to help people. The 4.5 acre campus will be located on city-owned land at 16902 First Street in the city of Victorville. And we're planning to begin construction this year and to finally complete the project in 2023. When our wellness center is operational, the total number of sheltered beds in Victorville will be 301, and that's an increase by 56%. And to me, that is huge. One of the greatest challenges to this point has been the lack of a comprehensive facility where shelter, food, and support services are co-located. The Wellness Center will fill this gap and help the homeless individuals stabilize and rebuild their lives. Our strategy was developed in partnership with our Homelessness Solutions Task Force, where members of the community have come together to try and help mitigate homelessness in the community. We are working to provide the, to increase, I don't want to say increase, but to be cognizant of the human rights of our homeless population so that they have access to safe and decent housing while reducing the negative impacts of homelessness and the impacts of homelessness on our residents and businesses. So in addition, we believe that by increasing access to shelter, healthcare, and support services, we believe we will have fewer encampments and reduce blight and less medical and fire-related calls for service in Victorville. So as you can imagine, homelessness is a very complex issue, but there's no one cause of homelessness. Our strategies must account for a variety of variables. Therefore, we have to incorporate wraparound support services, and we're working to get input from our task force of citizen stakeholders. Lastly, I'd like to just touch up on our response as a city to COVID-19, the pandemic. Despite the many challenges that were presented by COVID-19 during the last 2 years, I think that we've been focused on the very important mission of serving our community. And for this reason, we've been able to move these very important initiatives forward without setbacks or delays, which has been important. And staying focused in these times of challenge takes discipline, hard work, and personal fortitude. So I'm sure that this pandemic has created challenges for all of us, for families, especially for students, teachers, administrators in the school system. We think about our essential workers. So it has kind of changed the mindset of all people. We've had to make sacrifices. We've been forced to make changes that we didn't expect to make. We've had to delay celebrations and, well, many students had to attend class online, and teachers like me, I had to teach online, and that wasn't easy. So it's hard to believe we've been going through these stressful times and facing these challenges, but I'm proud of us because we've done this together. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that we pulled ourselves together and done things we never knew that we could do. I say that as a council person, but I'm also speaking as an educator and as a member of the community. But I think that we're all stronger people in the end because of this situation that we did not expect. And we are building resiliency and strength that will serve all of us well in the next time that we face a difficult challenge. So, enough of that. I'm on a soapbox, I guess, talking about that issue. But at this time, what I like to do is I'm talking, and I believe that as an educator, that when I talk and I, you're not talking, the less I talk, the more you talk, that's when learning takes place. So I want to stop right here and open up, and answer questions, open up for questions.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Irving. We do have some questions from some schools that are on this chat. I do invite schools to go ahead and submit your questions in the chat box. I'll look for them as we finalize the last 10 minutes of this chat. And so we have 10 minutes left to address the following questions. First question, being that it is Black History Month, what advice or what message would you give female Black students aspiring to enter public service or the world of work?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, first of all, I'd like to say, as a Black female, I think that the opportunity to participate in public service, especially with the election of Kamala Harris, uh, the opportunities are abundant. Black ladies are Keisha Bottoms, the mayor, the lady, good friend, Latoya Cantrell out of New Orleans. Black women, this is the time. Black women are participating in public service, and it all kind of began with Shirley Chisholm. What would I suggest? I tell you to get involved. Get involved in the National Council of Negro Women. Get involved in the Top Ladies of Distinction. All of these organizations are service-based organizations, and they cultivate leadership in young women. Um, get involved at school, student government. And sometimes you don't have that opportunity to be a leader. You don't have to actually be involved in an organization. You just need to have a vision and open your mouth and articulate it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you spoke to taking some losses um, during your presentation this morning. How did you apply your resiliency to keep running for office after losing 2 elections?
Well, I've lost a few, but I've won a few too, right? The city of, as a councilwoman in the city of Victorville, this is not really my first endeavor in public service. I mentioned that I come from the city of Compton. So in the city of Compton, I served on the school board, the college board, and I had a short experience on city council. But how do you do it? You believe in yourself. Every night, I'll be honest, I pray. I pray for wisdom, discernment, and patience in all that I do. And I use the power of visualization. I envision myself doing what I set out to do, what I want to do. And but it's not easy. And as I said, sometimes you lose. But if you wake up the next day, it's another chance to win. So that's how I see it.
Wonderful, wonderful. And our next question, how do you plan to impact the city of Victorville through your leadership?
Well, that's a really good question. First of all, I'm cognizant that I'm the first. And being the first means that it's always hard. I'm the oldest too, so being the oldest child, it's hard. But nevertheless, I'm aware that I'm setting standards for those that will come after me. And I get to be a person now, you can stand on my shoulders. What am I going to do? I'm going to be the best city councilwoman and the best role model that I can be for the young ladies and young men who are looking at me, and I'm going to extend myself to help uplift them if they so desire. I think that was my time.
No, I think we'll end with this question. What skills do you recommend that educators identify to develop students entering the public service sector?
Well, as teachers, we all know we have some students that are very passionate and opinionated. I happen to like those students. To me, those students have leadership skills because I have a few. But the ability to help students learn like persuasive writing, to help them organize their thoughts so that they are able to weigh the pros and cons and take a position and deliver to an audience. I think that's essential because that you need to have influence if you're on a council or board, because you're only one of a group of people, and it's a democracy. But if you're persuasive and you articulate, but to be a leader, you don't need to do that. You just need to have passion in your heart about what you believe. If you stand for something, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Keep that in mind. Be courageous and stand up for what you believe. And always speak truth to power. If you leave with anything, If you're able to be courageous and speak truth to power, you are a leader and you have the capacity to be a public servant.
Well, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Irving, for such an incredible session today. Is there anything that you want to leave our middle and high school audiences before we close down?
I just want to say, I'm one person in this position, but we need good leadership. And we this is Black History Month, so I'm going to take the opportunity. We need people who look like me to stand up and be a part, because we've earned it. This is our country too, it's our city, our community. If you have the desire, you think you have the desire, if you just have an inclination, please reach out to me, because I am a giver. I will help you grow, develop, I will help cultivate whatever it is that you want to do, especially in this arena of public service, because it's not easy. So, I'm getting old. I'm gonna hand the baton off to somebody, somebody else. So I would like for you to reach out to me. I come and speak to you at your school, but reach out to me because I'm looking for young mentees. I want to be a mentor.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. All those educators and students out there who have participated in this session, we thank you for joining Mayor Pro Tem Irving on how to be a champion in the public sector. She is definitely going on to bring innovation to the city of Victorville as she continues to conquer many, many, many more firsts in her public service. So those of you who are online, please go to sbcalliance.org, where you can join future sessions like the one you joined today in the month of February and March 2022. Again, thank you for your participation and have a wonderful day.